Hello, beloved souls. My name is Jem, Jem, psychic medium, author, channeler, and truth seeker. Now, because I'm a widow on a pension, don't have a lot of money. And because I don't have a lot of money, I don't have money to do marketing. So I'm using YouTube as a platform, and over the next few days and weeks, I will read some excerpts from different books that I have written and published, all available at Amazon. I have 20 books, all different. This one, it had to be in this format because originally this book was published by Exhibitus, and I then took over rights, my author rights back. So it's all about, this is a basic sociology book for those who wish to have a general understanding, but it doesn't cover all the sociological perspectives or any new recent theories. It is based on personal theories, concepts, beliefs, and interpretations of the author, but also is grounded in previous acquired university knowledge. The views expressed are that of the authors, which can neither be verified or denied, true or false. It starts with the premise that society is a creation. I'm just going to randomly choose a chapter. So this one is chapter 2, the social world. Does society or the social world exist out there as an independent entity? The answer is no. Throughout history, we have had different forms of society, and as social individuals have created each one. As soon as we are born into a role, and upon acceptance of this role, we begin to behave in a certain way as dictated by that role. We are given gender, boy, girl. We are given objects such as toys to further our acceptance. Non-acceptance is known as deviancy, and once we deviate from the norm, our creation for us is destroyed. It is no use insisting you are a girl if biological and genetic factors say otherwise. That's our rule. So the male gender is now given other roles: son, brother, father, etc. If this boy still exists, he is a girl, then often others will view him as not normal, and therefore for this individual the social role and gender of boy no longer exists. That creation has broken down. Our social world, with all its structures, rules, norms, and so on, exists because we created it. And as a creation, we accept it and believe it has an independent existence. Without some form of social structure, we would not exist as unique social beings. We made rules to stop chaos. Roles are created so we can partake and interact in the social world. If there was no social order as such, we would not need language, for what would be the use of communication? We would exist independently and thus cease to be social beings. In the case of bees, if the bee did not dance in the right way, no other bee would be able to locate the pollen, and so social interaction has broken down. The bee is no longer interacting with the other bees. We may hate society, resent its power, and say it's repressive, capitalist, materialistic, or whatever. But we are the ones who structured our social world as such. We are born into these structures, and usually, consensually, we all accept it, and so it continues to be. When there is massive non-acceptance and populations uprise and revolts follow, the old structures are often torn down and new ones reformed, and we accept these new ones until they no longer serve their purpose or we no longer believe in their validity in our lives. When there is individual non-acceptance and rebellion, that individual is ostracized by the other accepting members who label the nonconformist as a deviant. The deviant then becomes a hermit, or a criminal, or mentally ill, or a substance user, or eccentric, etc. Rarely some deviant is seen as enlightened and they become charismatic leaders of new uprisings, heroes, cult leaders, politicians, artists, etc. Acceptance of social structure continues existence. We are programmed to accept, and then I've got in brackets, usually. Now, when it comes to the notion of free will, we do have choices, but right from an early age, we come to the realization that no matter how many faults there are inherent in our system, our world, we have to put up with them if we wish to survive and to be accepted by our peers and significant others. From the time we are born, we are being socialized. We are taught language, how to behave, and so on. These processes maintain our society. Through them, we begin to believe in and accept our social world, its constructs, and its structures. We do have free will. We can choose the path our lives will follow. We cannot choose our gender, family, social class, race that we are born into. Although, I've got in brackets, although there are some religious belief systems that uphold that we do indeed freely choose these things to experience life, in brackets. However, after birth, societal forces and pressures begin to act upon us, repressing our free will, teaching us that to survive we must act or behave as society dictates. Usually, we do not fight these forces, but rather willingly accept them. Our growing up is controlled and structured. Our own language is one of the societal forces, and through the use of language, we arrive at the point where objects are given names, description, meanings, and attributes, and values are placed upon them, and how important they are in society, which overall means how valuable they are to us. Our belief in their worth sustains their existence. We are responsible for everything as we created it all, including our social world with our collective free will. For society to believe that the present social world and all its components has any significant meaning for us, we would then reconstruct a new one and give it new attributes. We have children, and by our own practices and beliefs which make up our social world, we force our descendants into believing and accepting the world out there, which we created, that really is real and exists independently of the creators ourselves. We have unconsciously and deliberately as a whole blinded ourselves to the fact that the social world is not permanent but very much dependent on our continuous belief in its existence. Hence, we have closed our minds to truths, buried our free will, and like mechanical programmed robots, continue to construct our creation, the social world. In fact, those sociologists who insist in the reality of a social world add to the confusion. They also ensure that through their beliefs, the social world is a valid, independent, and very real entity. There are also authorities we have set up to make sure we keep on believing on the validity of the social world. This, we have reasoned, is for our own good. I will do another chapter later. If I can quickly find it. Sorry for the delay. So this book, again, here it is, it's chapter 8, is found on Amazon. So chapter 8 is religion. Why is religion necessary? Is it to find truth behind the falseness of creations, or to find a way out of the deceptions, corruptions of our creations, to find true meaning, to find inner reality, to find perfection, to find enlightenment? What about those who claim to believe in nothing? Do they? They obviously believe in the validity of the social world and their own existence in it. Religion basically is a set of beliefs. I would claim that belief in our social world and its structures could be interpreted as religious. The love of money or worldly goods becomes a type of worship, with those objects becoming idols or gods. Sociology also studies religion because this practice has its own set of rules and is part of the structure of society. Religion provides valuable insights in cross-cultural belief systems. Religion has also created another layer, that of the spiritual realm. Some of us would argue that they do not believe in their own existence, as if they were part of a higher being's imagination or a computer program, or that everything is just delusion or a mass hallucination or matrix. I am a great admirer of the philosopher Descartes, who believed, "I think, therefore I am." The mere fact these skeptics and disbelievers feel, act, behave, participate in the social world shows that in some ways they exist. Society exists from our own creation. Maybe we are part of that creativity. 2. We gave the entity of the social world life. So are we not ourselves living entities, even if that is created too? For the skepticism, disbelief in existence or in God is just another belief system or religion. From our beliefs, we construct our own reality and our own God. Perhaps sociology itself could also be interpreted as religion. I I would almost definitely label psychology, especially Freud and other analysis, as a type of religious belief. Christianity, one religion, teaches healing of soul, body, heart, and mind. Christianity has left a huge impact on many Western societies with its rules, and at times throughout history been the governing body, the authority, telling us how to construct the society we wanted to live in. To this day, many religions in different countries still dictate how one must live. Psychology analyzes and tries to heal the mind. In both Christianity and psychology, there must be an acceptance of self. Sociology differs. Advocates argue because it is not a study of the mind, but isn't the social world a creation of collective consciousness and unconsciousness of social actors? In other words, created from our own minds. Can not the ills of society be cured by the treatment of the psyche? Religion, therefore, must be held responsible for also allowing social actors to perceive the social world as real. The Church, history reveals, dictated good moral behaviour and provided laws for citizens to abide by. Many of our wars have been holy wars, often to convert or subdue heathens, as their society and practices were not acceptable or appropriate in the eyes of the powerful church. Witches were burned and horribly tortured because they were not acceptable in society. Seemingly, they had strange powers and deviated from the norm. So, if a babe sickened and died, an old hag, for example, was blamed. Religions need money to build places of worship, thus creating another social structure and giving more power and meaning to objects such as money, buildings, holy objects, etc. Religion was also a consultant in marriage. Once birth, marriage, and death were all registered in the church records. The 10 Commandments of the Old Testament have become part of our laws, enforced by law agents, such as 1. Thou shalt not steal. 2. Thou shalt not commit murder. Others like 1. Thou shalt not commit adultery. 2. Honor your father and mother have become the norms of our Western society and considered to be morals, ethics, but not enforced, laws punished, or enforced by law agencies. Punishment for those may include ostracization by others. Likewise, in non-Christian societies, people are ruled by religious beliefs. Things Fall Apart is a fiction book which deals with an African tribe based on reality. Here, the tribe never ventured out at night because evil spirits walked. So, practices and rules of society are very much governed by belief systems. Religion impacts on our way of thinking and our behavior, and thus has a direct effect on the creation and maintenance of social world. Religion over human history has run and controlled social actors and their social world, and because of the power which has also been invested in it, has at times been corrupt, evil and able to be corrupted. Yet the social actors themselves are responsible for all the creation of all religion. A famous Persian emperor had conquered the ancient Greek world and had burned Athens, but because the gods were unfavorable, he quickly returned back to his known land. This shows us the influence of religion even on our governing bodies. And I could continue. The copyright of this book was 2022, but so that's what it originally looked like when Exibris published it. And Exibris published it in 2015. Unfortunately, you can see because of how Exibris handed me back, it just was a mess. It was just a mess. But for you get through past it, all that this verse is just talking about me, and then we get on to sociology theories. I wrote this at the end of 1990. I wrote this. I hadn't published it then, but in it, there's already concepts of simulation and matrix. Book away ahead of its time. So, please, that's just one of 20 odd books that I have available at Amazon. Thank you for watching. Please be kind to each other and to yourselves. Love, light, and blessings.